can you, let's go back step by step. You did this, and what did you use? Did you use the CO2 cans? What was the process you used last year?
Yes, that was my third phase of the corn. At this time, I set the conditions to use a lot of CO2, and also I use around the plot the same systems or the three circles. You know, I put as you gave me the tips, to put the hoses around the ground to produce the permanent fertilizers as I was watering the plot. I put a circle around the plot of CO2, then I put the middle circle of CH3, and then I put a circle, a small one like a reactor type of thing, you know, within the field. I use the 3 gans as a field in my corn plot that I did. I did have a lot of harvest of those. And I mean, there was plenty. A lot of people just came and took most of my seeds. You know, we ate tamales. We make a lot of sweets that we do with the corn here, and everybody enjoyed the corn. And I kept almost a sack of the seeds that I selected for this year. You know, from a variety of colors to a variety of what they call lines per corn. You know, I adapted some of the seeds from South Mexico to North Mexico, and those seeds, maybe those are one of the pictures yet from my first phase, where corns were showing 3 shoots and sometimes 2 shoots in the growing process. And a lot of those corns, like I showing the different corns, they were producing 3, 4, 5 corns per plant. Some of those, they developed well. Others, even they grew a small size, they still produce some seeds in this small corn. It didn't produce as yes.
I found those pictures from you. Did you want me to start sharing those pictures? Because I think you have some from the third.
Yeah, okay. You can show these just to do a little recap of what I did in the 2015. But I did have a lot of success, and this is my wheat right now. My wheat that I just planted on the 14th of January. This wheat is already producing around 7 shoots, and I'm trying to see if this wheat is going to produce more than, as you say, the wheat is going to behave as grass and produce more shoots. Already is the first month since I planted, and these little plants are already branching to 7 shoots. That means it's going to be
this
7.
This is what we reported 3-4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
no,
usually it should be 1 shoot. Am I correct?
Not really. There are some varieties where they have more than 1 shoot. And these ones, I'm trying to see is as the months go, the weeks, I can record more like a bunch, growing around 1 seed. This is only 1 seed from this variety. This is the hard wheat from the area, from this area. Even though this wheat, as I wanted to do organic growing, practically the time it was difficult to get the seed. And I got the seed that regularly, everybody's planting. But what I did for the seed was blown into the ground, Then with a big tractor, I did a mixture of the 3 gans, and I coated the seed before it was buried by the tractor. That was my treatment of the nano coating for the seed, for the wheat.
Can you please repeat that again, please? What you did?
Okay, we got the regular seed that everybody was using here in the area. There was a call to plant about 500 acres, hectares of wheat in the area. And I decided to be outside of the chemical thing and just apply gans not any chemical. Everybody is applying urea and applying, the different chemicals. I'm overseeing another plot from another grower that he's growing the same stuff, but with the with urea, and I'm using only the application of the gans with the my fertilizers that I'm creating. I sent some pictures about the fertilizers, the tips you gave me about using the bones and using, the nano-coated hoses to put in the ground for my vegetables. And I'm starting a new cycle for vegetables and for more corn, But I have 4.5 hectares of wheat that are growing with gans. And I divided the land into plots, into 2 hectares. One side, I put only CO2. I mixed that in like a 500 liters of mixture that I did with gans and with the fertilizers that I'm creating. And I sprayed the seed before it was buried. That's what I explained at the beginning. One plot has CO2, the other one has 3 gans, CH3, CO2, and copper gans with silver gans. All of them were extracted from seawater. And that's the treatment that I did for the land. At this point, I'm ready to start throwing my nanomaterials as I did before. My nails, my pieces of metal all around the areas. That's an extra treatment that I'm doing to the land. The reason I'm doing this is because close to the area where I live, these are one of my units. These are my energizing units that I'm going to be using around my water, where the water comes to my land. These have the same ideas of the health Brooklyn, where you put these coils for the body. Well, I want to use it for the water. I want to put 2 of those coils around where the water comes out to energize the water and to also neutralize any chemical. This is my corns that I harvested from the last year, and they are being in a plasmatic soaking. The inside part is a device that I use to produce a field around the corn that is going to be prepared for planting. This has a double wall container that has the 3 gans. And I'm producing the fields for a couple weeks around the corns. The different, these are already selected according to the number of lines that every corn was producing, I got corn from 8 lines, 12, 14, 16, 18 lines. These are popcorns, this variety. This is one of the varieties of popcorn that I got. On these varieties, even they were not close to pollinate, to self-pollinate. These varieties were showing anomalies too, growing 5 corns or growing, in different, one corn will come on the top of the plant instead of the male flower. And at the same time, at the side of the corn, you will see a little pollinating branch. That's how the corn grows, with the male branches to pollinate the middle where the ears are of the corn. And these are one of the varieties that I use from, these are the red corns and the pink, and I also got some yellow mixtures and some purple mixtures corns that I got in the harvesting time. Now, like I said, I've been selecting this corn to do my spring phase, where I want to plant these seeds again. And this is going to be the 3rd time that the seed is planted. The original, the one that I harvest, and this is going to be the 3rd time that I'm going to be planting the same seed. All of these were grown with the nanomaterials. Some of these were sprayed with the gans in my 3rd phase. I use only CO2, And like I say, a couple times I did spray the roots with copper to just, you know, kill some funguses in the on the ground in case that there was something. But I didn't see any problems with the thing. The only thing at the end of the year, because the cycle was a little off, this is the container that I used for the tractor to spray the 500 liters of mixture of CO2 with the fertilizers that I've been using, and also some. This is 1 liter of gans that I use of CO2, CH3, and the copper oxide that I use in my 500 liters per half, you know, of the land. Like I
So
say,
you don't use any chemicals, or you use
not all chemicals, only the gans.
Can I ask you a question before you go any further? Because you said a lot. You're giving us a lot of information. Because first of all, you're processing it in a natural way. The other thing which is interesting to know is, did you see any parasite in your structure compared to the other farmers?
Right now, what I'm observing right now is that between myself and another one, we planted the seed almost the same day. My seed, the wheat has grown almost twice, and at that point, I have only given 2 irrigations, and this person has already more than 2 irrigations, and they put urea, and still my wheat is almost twice bigger than them. And then that's what I'm observing right today. I did some diggings, and that's what I found, that the wheat is producing from 3 to 7 shoots per seed. I mean, it's producing a lot of shoots. I'm hoping there's going to be more shoots, you know, and I want to have more tons per acre than the regular, you know.
Can I ask you a question? Because you said now is your 3rd year harvesting with CO2.
With the nanomaterial, yeah, with the CO2 since I start, you know.
Okay.
But this land.
What I want to ask you, do you see, because you most probably been farming years before, if you have such a reference, or you can compare to the other farmers in your area, what is your harvest change? Is it less? Is it equal, or you harvest more?
The situation is very interesting here. For example, for wheat wasn't grown for a few years in this area, and now wheat is coming back to be grown. And I don't have any comparison right now because of that. Just this year is going to be my comparison type with this type of growth, because
hey,
like
David,
it's neat.
David, can you just check your mic there? We're getting some scratching as you're talking.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm touching my because I am my cell phone. Like I said, I don't have right now my other system working. That's where I'm kind of holding the phone. You know,
yeah, but what is interesting, did you have any reduction last year compared to the first year in harvest, or was it the same?
Okay, last year, what I did grow, it was some plots of the corn and some vegetables. I did have a lot of success in the vegetables that I grow, like in this beds that you see in front. I put a lot of lettuce. I put a lot of cabbage, broccoli, and cauliflower. I grew this. I think people were really amazed with what I harvest, because it will stay days outside in the heat, and the plant won't wither. It will keep strong, hydrated, you know, with the gums, you know, and with the at the same time the structure what I was doing.
Stop, please.
Yes.
No, because it's important. This brings something very important in line, because we got to learn from you. You are the tester. You said the plant does not dehydrate.
No, it didn't dehydrate. It took a long time for the plant to really go, you know, to wither outside. And I left it on purpose outside of my house. You know, when I was giving what I call the box. It's called the organic box for everybody. Everybody was getting, you know, a box with, you know, 2 lettuce, 1 cabbage, and then put in some cilantro seeds, put in some radishes. I was making a little, you know, a small box for everybody who was ordering for me, you know, from the organic stuff that I was growing. And those will get strong, you know, outside. Even in June and July, you know, when the heat is strong, you know, the plants will last longer, you know, with this application.
Because
you know.
we've seen the reverse with the Chinese agriculture report, where they showed us that the plant will not freeze. So the CO2 works on both ways, both as a stop dehydration, and on the other hand, it stops the frost. The frost cannot affect it. Because the Chinese
Yeah.
showed the both fields next to each other, we could clearly see the difference.
Yeah, I did have a little problem with that part. You know, I possibly didn't spray enough CO2 in my corn at the end of the year, where, you know, one day the frost came. It did kind of, you know, affected the leaves of the corn, but the plant still kept alive until the end of the cycle from my corn that I harvest, you know. And even though I put the rings of protection around the plot, still, you know, the corn got a little hit, you know, with that. But still, a lot of the seeds were saved, you know. It didn't affect
But
a
if it
lot.
was if you didn't use the CO2, what was your opinion? What would have been the difference?
I was thinking if I was using more of the application of CO2, it will help, because I did saw the growth of the corn. A lot of corn was grown in that spot, because that third phase, that's the one that I use the application of the gans. In the other plots, I use the application of the nanomaterials on the ground, but not those plants were not sprayed with the gans, as I did with the last phase. And I did
There is
see
no
the
photos on the
production.
live stream, Rick. Sorry, 1 second. There's a message.
Okay.
There's no photos on the live stream, Rick. Can you check, please?
Must be his local. I see it here.
I see. Okay, carry on. Sorry about.
Okay, all right. When I did the application of the gans for this plant, for the third phase of the corn, that's when I saw the anomalies in the corn, you know, where I was seeing, you know, male flowers producing corn. Where you say sometimes that the plant will revert to the original makeup, the blueprint, where the corn was growing in the Americas, you know, in different way how we have adapted the corn to this time. And I saw grains coming on the male flower on top, like a wheat, and, you know, and any other plant that would produce the grains as wheat. But those grains were on the top.
Could you harvest them? Could you harvest?
What happened, the birds, I wanted to protect us, and some at the time, you know, the little birds just have a feast with some of those. But I kept, you know,
Can I ask a question? I'm going back, asking a question. If you planted male and female seed, and you saw the males growing seeds as females do, does this go back?
No, it doesn't work like that with the corn. Corn it pollinates by itself, and corn has the male flower on top, and the ears has the little hairs that receive the pollen. This plant will have on the same part, the top part, it will produce a little corn coming from the male flower. It will hang the corn. And that's one of the pictures that I lost. I'm trying to recoup and send you a picture. You can see little corn hanging from the top, not in the center where the corn regularly grows, you know. And also some of the corns, the little pollinated sacs that have the male flower will produce, or it was producing the seeds on top, instead to form the corn as a regular way how the corn grows. You know, these male flowers were producing seeds, corn seeds.
Yeah, okay. Now what I'm going to come to is just to add something, just to ask others who are on our line, listen to this. Maybe they can enlighten us, but it's a question which raises. And the question raises, did the male come first or the female? Or does the female has come from the male? If the male section is producing fruit or corn, does the process changes the going back to the origin, or did the man come first or the female come first?
Good question. But what I'm observing right now with the corn, I'm trying to repeat the experiment to see if I get this of the units. These are the units that I'm preparing for energizing the water. The same way with the health machine, I'm going to be using.
Where are you putting this? Where are you putting this unit?
Around where the water comes out. These are my 4-star, you know. These are
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
These are putting around the pipes. That's where the water comes for the land. I'm going to be putting those, and I'm going to be broadcasting around here in a structure similar to the health machine, like the one that Renan is doing. I'm going to put these, and I'm going to broadcast my different fertilizers, and also I want to energize the water. All these are nano-coated and ready to be energized with.
But I think you need to cover them that you don't lose the coating. You have to cover if you're hanging these inside.
Those are not going to be touching the water. That's going to be outside. Broadcasting the information. It's going to be a close where the flow of the water.
The flow of the water goes in between, right? Yes.
Yeah. Why don't you? Let's see. Why don't you put your coil around the pipe itself?
Yeah, that was another idea that I got. But with this, because the little tube that I have inside, I'm doing the nano in these little containers in the right side. They will have a little tube that will have the fertilizers that I'm doing from the different materials that I have in the land. Like I haven't used the bones of the cow, and then I burned those, and I burned some corn from the last period, and I use the corn ashes with the salsa with the NaOH to create the concentrate. That the moment that I use my plasmatic batteries and activate those coils, those are going to broadcast the field to the water and energize the water with the fertilizers as a field action. You know, the water is going to remember the memory, it's going to be energized. And at the same time, it's going to be neutralize any other chemical memory that the water might have from the underground, you know. That's my idea, is to broadcast as the way the feel of the gans that I'm creating with the different fertilizers, and I'm using different minerals. I use different clays to create a clay mixture of fertilizers that will have all the minerals that will go broadcast to the water, you know. As you say, when we broadcast these units, you know, the animals won't need to kill another prey to eat. Well, why don't we spray and do the same thing to the plants? Just feed the plants the same way. And my idea is to come through the water to use the broadcasting system with the coils, as we're doing for the health devices. why don't we do the same thing, you know? But my idea is to put in the center of the plasma field to pull these test tubes that will have the concentrates there. I could use, you know, CH3 in just one spiral, or I can use a composite gun that will have all the fertilizers that the plant needs to grow. And that's my prototypes that I'm creating to structure the water through the gans field, you know, when the water comes out of the tube. And that's I start working today with the prototypes. And what I came about is these ping pong balls that have the magnetite. You know, I nano-coated the black sand magnetite. Those right here, these little balls are going to be filled with black sand magnetite, nano, and inside each ball, because I want to try to duplicate the star system, where the 3 balls in the center are going to have the 3 guns. It's going to be filled with the magnetite nano with a different guns for each one, and the upper one is going to have a composite gun together. Water will flow through there, and it will make a spiral. I will repeat the same process, the same system, and I will put the 3 coils too, and those coils are going to get activated. In the moment the water flows through there, water is going to be purified from the memory through the process of the vortex that is going to be created inside. I could, you know, protect the spirals, excuse me, or I can just let it go like that and let the water run through. Those are already nano-coated, the ping pong balls. And like I said, they are going to be filled with the magnetite, which each one is going to have a different guns. Plus, that is going to be only the first section where the water comes. When the water goes out, it's going to have a number of ping pong balls in the same arrangement of the 4-star. But this one, I want to have the different fertilizers that I want the water to be imbued and be charged for the growing of the wheat. That's one of my experiments. Right here, you have another.
I think you better cover the coils which they come in touch with the water. I think after a short time, there'll be no nano-coating left on them.
Is that including if it's a caustic method?
My idea is those spirals are going to be locked in a little clear tubing. It's going to be a lot of a clear tubing around the spiral that is going to be touching the water, if the water is going to be running through there. But then I'm copying the system that Renner was doing with the tube inside the tube. But the tube inside the tube is going to have the magnetite with the different guns, and the water is going to flow freely in the middle, and that will also energize the water, because I already have experience in that system. I did it a year before. I did a tube that is one of the pictures I send. There is a long tube that has the magnetite inside with the guns. That's one of my previous experiments that I did to structure the water with magnetite. The reason why I'm saying magnetite is because the magnetite has the natural magnetism of the earth. It doesn't have this frequency created by the...
Let me explain. Let me correct you. You are mixing a lot of sciences together just to justify. This doesn't exist. There is no frequency in plasma, and there is no resonance. So what you do, you don't magnetize the water. Magnetizing is a single word, but you're using both gravitational and magnetical field. So what you're doing is changing the plasma of the water.
Yeah.
The information I changed the information. The plasma does not carry information, it carries a strength. That is its information.
No,
So
what I was talking, yeah, I understand that.
yeah,
But
no, because if we use the right terminology,
oh,
then we
okay.
understand it in a correct way. You're doing a fantastic job. I've seen your work before. But the
Yeah.
only thing is,
Mhm.
I think you better cover anything which comes with the water direct in your system should not be nano coated unless you can cover them. That then you don't pass on nanomaterial and you pass the energy of it. It's,
Yeah, my one of the devices, the ping pong balls are being. I did nanocoat those in the outside, but the magnetite is getting inside the ping pong balls. The idea, what I was saying before about the magnetism, I'm not using in the sense of how the magnets are created. You know, with this 60 hertz current. The natural magnetism of the magnetite that I'm getting is the natural, you know, stones has magnetism that the planet, you know, kind of energized to be magnetite. I'm using those kind of black sand magnetite as a field of the guns, you know, I
okay,
mean, as a
okay.
field of the plasma.
Let's put it in a different way. Even if the stone use a magnetite, or you call it the stone is magnetized, now that we have expanded the knowledge, the stone itself carries a plasma. You get both the
Yes,
field the stone takes and gives. So now that we understand more, it's better to use the right understanding. And this is important because magnet, anything, especially when you put it in the water, water we know is hydrogen and oxygen is in a plasmatic condition. So if you give it magnetism, just where does it go with the gravity? What does it give to if it takes? So now that we know more, if we use the right terminology, you increase the energy of its plasma.
yes,
So
that's the
so
idea.
you are the teachers, you are the heads of these sections in teaching us. If we use the right terminology from the beginning, then people understand it because the mind frame stays in the plasma, please.
Yeah, I want to increase the plasma field of the water through the action of the natural plasma field that the magnetite has. And because I'm putting the GANs in the mixture of the nano that I did, you know, I got the magnetite as you will get a regular magnet, and I did the nanocoating process. And each little ping pong ball is gonna have a different guns inside. Those are gonna be the areas where the water is gonna vortex through to get energized when it goes to irrigate the field. I can do it.
Can we use this as a blueprint, please, Renan? Renan, are you in the background?
I already sent an idea, Renan, about what one of my prototypes that I was trying to share, you know. But I need to give more details of one of the units that I'm doing because, you know, the similar process that Renan is doing with coiling the pipe around the other tube, you
Water
know,
pipe.
the water pipe. I can use the same system, and it already did it with the magnetite, you know, and I protected the sheet that goes outside, and the water just runs freely through the inside. But this time, this the upper field, the tube within the tube, is filled with the field of the magnetite with a mixture of the guns. The water is going to be energized by the field, you know, and the other one I using the coil, but I'm doing the infinite loop inside the tube. I'm putting 7 infinite loops, and those infinite loops, nanocoat wire, is going to be filled with also with a magnetite with guns. It's going to be a strong field that the water that runs in the center of the unit that irrigates the land is going to be charged with the field of these guns, you know, of the plasma. I will say the plasma field produced by the guns in the tube is going to energize the water. And I'm hoping that your opinion, see what you think, is that also will neutralize the memory of what it has from the chemicals that you get from from the underground. I'm trying to organize back the water, to structure the water through this system that the plants will receive a broadcast of the fertilizers that I'm putting in every, and every coil is being used in the same system that with the health pen, every coil is being bathed with different fertilizers before I put them inside this little plastic tube. These ones are just samples. The ones that are going to be running through the inside are going to be protected in this plastic tube. And I have a hole through the top of the PVC pipe where I'm going to seal it with silicone. But those are going to be energized with the plasma batteries to create the same thing with the health and the helmet type of thing, But those are going to be close to the water pipe where the water is, going to fill. That was one of the prototypes that I want to develop, And this is going to be used for my third irrigation phase. I already gave 2 irrigations to the wheat, and this is going to be my third prototype. And now I would say it's going to be my third phase where I'm going to use this prototype to irrigate the wheat. And from there, I'm going to be taking more data to see how the wheat are going to start measuring the bricks, the content, how the wheat is getting the nutrients. I'm going to start measuring from this week, extracting some wheat and do my spectrography. I'm using a spectrometer to measure the bricks, the sugar content that this process is going to be developing, and also I'm going to be using these systems in my vegetables too, because I'm going to be putting underground. I want to bury those, and water is going to flow through those areas where the vegetables are going to be receiving the water. That's going to be part of the experiment too now for the vegetables with these units. Right here, the ones that you see, these little bowls, they have the spirals similar to the 90 degrees, but these ones can be dropped in my water reservoir to also energize the water in my reservoir. I could put one inside too.
If we've done this experiment, those of you who have a reservoir for water for agriculture or swimming pool, where you see a lot of algae are growing in the water, we have tested and we have put a small piece of nano-coated copper in a plastic bag, and we have hung it in the water. For past 3, 4, 5 months, we saw no algae at all, where before we have to clean them off the wall. So if you are using water tanks or water reserves, a small piece, we're using a 10 by 15 centimeter, if that, in a swimming pool, and we haven't seen any algae, which is very, very unusual. So in your water tanks, you can put algae to get rid of if there are any algae.
All right. I was thinking in using the same sponges, and I was trying to ask you if the water will run through the nanomaterials as you did in the Fukushima experiment, where they were put this thing to purify the water. What is the effect that if my water runs through those copper things into my field? It will kill all the microflora of the ground because just running through the copper, or will also change the pH of the water when it runs through there. Will that affect the growth of the field? Hello? You hear
Hello?
me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Because I was trying to develop different prototypes. I want to develop the ones with the copper is not going to be touching the water. Only the field of the plasma is going to be touching the inside where the water flows. But I wanted to do some tests where I can flow through this, nano coated copper pipe to inside to see if that could be used as a sanitizer instead of using the insecticides or anything, herbicides, to use a copper pipe to spray also for the protection of some pests or
Yeah,
any.
this is what we suggested with an hour ago with the discussion in respect to the potatoes in Kenya. This is what we think it is because we tested it and we don't see parasite. Maybe it attracts new parasites, but what we've seen up to now, there is no parasite.
But I
So,
do have a couple prototypes I'm going to be developing in that sense to just spray the plant. The ones that I see they are getting sick, not every single plant, and I want to spray to all of them. I'm going to use it as a control device for this thing. But my whole idea is to broadcast from this. These are the tops that you put in the PVC pipes, where I'm putting the spirals here, two spirals, one at 90 degrees phase right there. And in the inside of each little cup is the little test tube that has the different, either different gans or different fertilizers that I'm growing to broadcast to the water. I don't know, like I saw that we can, feed from them. I was thinking, feeding the water through all the fertilizers that I'm using with my bones, with my sea gans, and the different.
but does your plant need these things?
Well, wheat needs a lot of the nutrients because I'm not using no fertilizers like everybody's using here.
Yeah, but do you need to put these things inside? Or would the field of what is created in those coils is sufficient enough?
Well, I don't know, but when you mentioned that we can create these fertilizers, these nano from the bones, from the different ashes, and then do the whole nano process we have been learning, I came with the process of broadcasting through the same system.
Let's see. It's a good idea.
Signatures. These signatures, maybe it would say, well, I don't need to apply any fertilizers.
Can I ask you a question? We're done with other people who brought us the knowledge today. We know you came to us in other teachings. Can you explain to us what's your background and what you do?
Well, I went to school to be a biochemist. I went to, here in Mexico for one of the universities, and I went and then to Arizona State University to finish my degree in biochemistry. But then I sidetracked on the health field. And I am a therapist, and like I say, I always like to come with a way how to help, people with a better nutrition and things. And this time, I decided to go to the nutrition part where I will grow organically, all the food. And then that's when I start, working in the field. Even though since I was little, I was growing corn, it was part of my makeup, just to grow these different things. But this time when I saw your first video and I started learning, I started, my mind started clicking and started, thinking about different ways of growing. And that's what I dedicate part of the research to the food production. and to, you know, better organic, you know, try to create a bank seed of pure seeds, you know. And I'm recouping some of the seeds that we lost here in my area, like corn. We lost the seed of the corn through the, I would say, manipulation or whatever, you know. Now people that have the seed, and then I'm reproducing the seed that we lost in the area. That's part of my experiment too with this technology.
Can I ask you another question? I asked before, somehow we got to get an answer to it. Compared in the corn side, compared to the past, did you have an increase? You said you see 2 or 3 or 5 corn. What was the harvest more than before, and how much, or less than before, how much?
Well, in my experience before, I never saw, you know, corns producing plants, 4 corns or 5 corns from the varieties that we grow here in this valley, you know. I didn't see more than 2, you know, corns per plant. This time I saw, you know, 5, you know, developing.
Yeah, but the harvest end product,
the
is
harvest,
it less
yeah,
or more?
yeah, I did produce this, the ones that I used with CO2, it did produce a lot, and I saw the huge corns that came, you know, from the application of the guns in the fields that I created, you know, because I created the 3 circles as the energy units, magravity units. I put.
Could you give us a ratio compared to the others? How much more? Is it an equal, 10% more? 10%?
No, I would say, if I compare it with my first and second phase that I put, because I was using different conditions every time, my third phase went almost, I would say, almost double the production that I have from my first and second phase. I saw the corn more strong and more thick. They were, you know, that's the reason I have 7 varieties of corn with the different ears, you know. I mean, different lines. I got corns that produce it, you know, like a per line of corns from, you know, from 8 to 18. And those were thick corns, you know. I saw really the production, they was really better than these.
What about the taste and the texture?
Well, the taste, that's the reason I did take some pictures when we make some tamales and some sweet things that we do with the corn syrup, you know, with the milk of the corn. We did really good milk candies with them, and it was delicious. You know, everybody, you know, almost have to be careful that nobody took all my corn that I grew with the nanomaterials, you know, and everybody enjoyed it. You know, it was really tasty, or it was really good. And I don't have those pictures here, but you know, I have the savoring that we did of this corn with the traditional dishes we do in Mexico, you know, with tamales and with sweet puri that we do with the corn, you know, leche de lote we call it, and it was really good. People enjoy it, you know. But like I said, I wanna duplicate this time because I have the original seeds grown already with the nanomaterials. Now I want to see the effect that I want to have in the 4th phase of growing. You know, that's going to be the 3rd phase, the 3rd time the seed being sown, you know, in the area. And from there, it's going to give me a better idea, you know, of what happened with the seeds, with the nanomaterials and with the gans, you know. And now because this land is already being treated with the gans, I sprayed the gans in the land. And like I say, I made a mixture of the 3 gans and I sprayed with a big tractor, you know, and fumigated the land with the nanomaterials. Especially, let's say, the wheat. My idea is because the wheat can prepare with a pink herbicide that they use around the plant. I wanted to neutralize the chemical effect that these people put on the seeds. Because I couldn't get the organic seed, I wanted to neutralize that. So I wanted your opinion to decontaminate, any traces of those chemicals. That's the reason I sprayed the whole gans, to see if I could cause a neutralizing effect on the seed before it was there.
Okay, can you, Rick, can you go on to the message? And you got the Bernardo Becara. Can you take this gentleman out of the chat? You can go to the other side. He's making a lot of nonsense comments in the background. He's got, yeah, take him out, ban him from all the chat rooms and Zoom, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Carry on, please.
Okay, like the production that is going to be coming this year with the land being already prepared with the guns, I'm going to start the application of the nanomaterials, the different metals that I'm going to be spraying as I did it before in the different plants where I grew the biomass of the chili peppers grew almost 3 times bigger as the first cycle,
I remember you telling us that last time.
Yes, I'm going to repeat the same thing this year, and I'm going to do a comparison with the last year, I already got it almost short, all the chili peppers, and I'm putting again the little rings as we did before, when we started with the rings, the CO2 rings, the little hoses with the guns. I'm going to do the same, repeat again, and start, recording info this time, making sure I have
Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much. Is this all you can share with us, or because we have other people waiting in the background?
Well, at this point, this time there will be an update that, that I will be keeping an update.
I think what we got to do, I've set up agriculture at Cash Foundation, agriculture.cashfoundation.org, and I've set up a chat room in the background for the agriculture team. We need to open a section for agriculturists to record their testimonials. So if you go into the Cash Foundation, agriculture.cashfoundation.org, we will set up a system that people can put only agricultural testimonies in there, like we do with the other side.
I think actually we have a category for agriculture on the testimonials site.
Okay, if people can put in that the others can benefit by it and how we can do it.